Hello and hi YouTube family. Bonjour, ça va dit? Comment ça va? How are you? Yes. Today. Oh, first off, welcome. Celestial Evolution. I do my sparkly stuff. Celestial Evolution. Welcome back if you are tuning in again. If you are not, just welcome. Have a seat. Let's have a chat. I hope you have something to drink. I'm not drinking anything tonight, though sometimes I do like to indulge in a glass of wine, but that'll be for like a real sit-down, therapeutic. We still need to get to know each other a little bit. But hi, my name is Celestial. Thank you very much for tuning in to my channel. On this channel of Celestial Evolution, what you will hope to find, or what you will find on this channel, are my thoughts in regards to building a solid foundation that I believe is going to catapult human evolution, because on a solid foundation you are able to find balance, and when you find balance in your life, you're able to think outside of just our animalistic needs, and we can evolve into the magnanimous creatures that God, the omnipotent one, the powers that are the universe, created us to be. We are a very unique species in the sense that we can have consciousness to be able to assess now, the future, and the past, so that we can rectify our mistakes and build a plan for a better future. Now, the four pillars of this foundation, and I want to add a fifth one too, just because I really feel it needs to be talked about, though I probably won't do little things like, talks about this specific one, but common sense. I'm gonna put that right in the middle. It's gonna be tacked in the middle. Okay, just in our day and age, society is lacking common sense, y'all. We gotta start thinking for ourselves. We gotta start asking questions. We gotta start being a little bit more inquisitive. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me. This is why I created this channel, because there was a lot that I didn't know that I need to know, that I am willing to know. The other four, we will be talking about physicality, which is your fitness, okay, getting that right. Spirituality, okay, yes, all of what it means in the word. How you take it, I don't know. I'll talk to you more about how I feel about it, and honestly, that is probably going to be like 70% of the videos on my channel, because I love to tap into the realm of the great power that is beyond us. And that's what I feel spirituality is. It's knowing that you are just a speck on this big planet, but knowing that even in your little tiny speckleness, you still have a big role in the big picture. The next one, education. You always have to be learning. Keep learning. Use your brain, okay? It's there for a reason. It's powerful, y'all. It's what differentiates us from everybody else, okay? Utilize your advantage. It's called your lottery ticket right here. And the last one is financial well-being. When you have your money right, because as much as we like to demonize money, it is a part of our reality. Without money, we're just going to go back to bartering days, and I really don't know what I can offer other than my very wonderful personality that you're going to be getting to know. So, you want to trade? Whatever you got, I'll trade with you. But that is why money is there, and to have a revolving consciousness around these four plus that fifth little tack that I want to put in there in common sense. When you have all of these revolving in our consciousness at all times, being focused on each of these pillars, what's going to happen is that you're going to create a solid grounding for each of those. And when those are in line with what you want to do in life, you can start thinking outside of just surviving and thriving, right? Because that's ultimately what we want to do. We don't want to have to worry about money all the time. We want to just have fun and live our lives. But before that happens, discipline is key, okay? But today, we are talking about relationships. As I am going through a breakup myself, before I get into it and you're like, oh, another rant from a chick, geez, right, this relationship is just gonna end. it was actually a very healthy relationship. Okay, let's begin there. And he's watching this. Yes, I'm divulging our information, but only you know who you are and anybody else who knows that we were dating. But he was a lovely person, and we just came to an end, as things do and eventually will come to, whether it's by choice or by death. We will have to say goodbye. The only thing that we can take with us is our beautiful spirit and onward to be recycled or whatever happens after death, right? Digress. But, he and I started off our relationship very beautifully, and it was very organic. We had a great attraction to one another in many senses, physically, emotionally, intellectually. It was all there. But there were just some things in his life and some things in my life were just not compatible, and there was really no growth that was happening within the relationship, even though intermittently we were having such a beautiful time. And even though from the beginning we were very open and honest with one another, as honest as self-preservation will allow, it was diluted because of the bliss that was being created intermittently. And we just had to be honest with ourselves and just to say that, where is this going? It's not going anywhere. Well, I love you and you love me, and we'll probably find each other in the next lifetime, right? And breakups are hard, y'all, and as I'm watching all of these red pill, pink pill shows, vlogs, reading different blogs, I'm just like, you know, a lot of these I know started from a broken heart. And the thing with YouTube is it's an open platform, and before we can even assess what's healthy or what's unhealthy, what's good advice and what's bad advice, it's already out there. And some people can, you know, go back and say, you know, I didn't mean it like that, but you said it. And some people take what they hear as absolute truth sometimes, because they're not thinking for themselves, right? And I'm like in a mode in my life where I've always questioned things. When I listen to these, I listen to the red pill, pink pill, I take it with a grain of salt, because we can speak well to the macrocosm, but everything in macrocosm is the whole picture. Think of it as like a finished puzzle piece, right? But there's the microcosm, which is each individual puzzle piece. And if you're missing one, it throws off the whole puzzle, right? Even though you have all these other pieces, you have one missing, it just throws everything off. And that's the importance of our individual experiences as human beings and what we mean to the whole picture of things. And I understand that we have always been self-interested, right? We know that ultimately it's about us, okay? It's about us until we have children, and even though it's a little bit about them, it's mostly about us. When we get into a relationship, I like you, but it's about me, okay? And what my wants and needs are. But what if in this world, right, where I had this conversation with my aunt the other day, and I was talking about self-preservation, and to be ultimately and wholly honest and like saying, oh my gosh, so I really like you right now, but I don't know where I'm going in life, so let's just take our time and do what we need to do in the now and worry about the future later. Can we do that? You know, can we waste a little time just being you and me? And if we approached situations like that, how good would we feel when we understood that when it's over, that's what it was? Because when we get into relationships, there's some person that likes another person more. I think that is how traditional relationships begin. I express interest, you grow interested, go from there. And then when the other person loses interest, the person that was being pursued, it's heartbreaking for the other person because it's rejection, first off. And then it's like, oh, I was being cheated this entire time. She was lying to me. He was lying to me, you know? What if they weren't lying? They just didn't know themselves. And honestly, that's what propelled the breakup here, is that I was in a 7-year relationship before. And I'm going to read you a note that I do. I always write voice memos or notes in the time that I'm healing or the time that I'm reflecting, so that I can have a piece, something factual to go back to and understand my frame of mind, thinking, okay, so what was actually really happening? And of course, it's all relative too, because it's my perspective. But I was going through a 7-year relationship, ending of a 7-year relationship prior to the ending of this, or the beginning of this one. And I jumped right out of that into this one. And I was very lucky in the sense that I found someone super awesome, but it was not the right time because I had yet to develop a sense of being first, a sense of understanding myself and what I really truly needed out of a relationship to be whole, happy, and fulfilled. And of course, that is never the responsibility of the other person. That is your responsibility first and foremostly. Get that right, because you are not supposed to get into a relationship to be fulfilled. You should be going into a relationship to say, hey, how can I help? And how can you help me? It's a reciprocity thing. So you going in there like, hey, what are you doing? I'll follow you. I don't think any human likes to do that. And I know there's like this whole wave of subservience and like high value men, and to each his own. If that's their preference, that's theirs. But you have to find yours, what can make you really happy. And when there's a common ground, I think we all can find peace and bliss in a world where jadedness is being pushed out for us to feel. When really, in actuality, we all have to take a little responsibility, a little accountability about why we are in the state and the world we are right now. Because maybe we skipped to the part where we wanted, but we didn't take the time to build towards getting to where we wanted. We cheated. We just jumped straight there. We didn't take the time to understand the process. And so this has been the healthiest breakup I've had, and even though it has been the healthiest breakup I've had, of course it's a breakup. We were together for a significant amount of time, and it's hard, you know, and especially to let something go that didn't end on bad terms. This didn't end on bad terms. It was just a realization of, you know, I don't want to waste any more of your time. If you feel you need to go and find the person that you're supposed to settle down with, please do so. Even though you're still in my heart as a person that I would love to spend more time with, but know that it's what I want and not what I need. And that's going for the both of us. And so I want to read you a note that I wrote after my 7-year breakup, and I sent to him because, you know, I think it's so relevant to be honest with ourselves and to take accountability, because it's in that accountability that really alleviates suffering and gives us our power back into how we can tackle the situation, because we're taking responsibility for it. So, let me commence. This was written in August 26, 2017. 2017. Heartbreak. One of the most horrific pains a person can go through. We find ways to mend our hearts sometimes productively, but most of the time we morph into a new kind of person who becomes a little more afraid to love the next time. As I spoke to my girls, all of us sounded so jaded. That little piece of shiitake mushrooms, you know? A little piece of crapola. Boys are all the same, why not treat them the way they treat us? We think of all the bad times to paint this person we once loved so passionately to be a devil, so that it is easier to forget them. I say, play the good times in your mind. Find peace, forgive, and move on. No one needs to be chastised for making a life decision. We always think that love should last forever, but there are so many forms of love, and some loves are brought into our lives for a reason. Find that reason and run with it. When we lose something, of course we mourn them, but I think we more mourn that part of us that they will take with them. If we do not know ourselves, we will always live for someone else. We take on their identity. And that's a note that I made after. But what I mean by that is, growing up, I was raised to be a wife. My grandmother was the most subservient woman to her man, who in my mind I would have left a million times over, because I'm an American, the Americanized, very westernized privilege that we have. But this woman was brought over to America by her husband, who was her sole provider. He did everything for her and bore her 5 children, and she waited on this man hand and foot, took him showers, brought bowls so he can wash his hand. Some men are like, where do I find that type of woman? You don't want that type of woman, okay? My grandma, after my grandfather died, is still not with a man, because she was like, no, never again, okay? But we have to take accountability for the person that we are in a relationship. Come to a compromise when we do enter into a relationship. Talk openly about what we want out of the relationship, so that there's no room for, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me that? We could have figured this out a long time ago. Maybe we weren't compatible. These are the types of things that we need to assess beforehand and talk about honestly before someone gets hurt. We really need to evaluate who we are as an individual to truly understand what we want out of another person. Because if you don't know what you want, you're going to be relying on the ideas and the hopes and the dreams of this other person, and that's never going to fulfill you, ever. I don't care how much you delude yourself. Women, we are victims of this more so, because we've always been told, we need to follow a man. And yes, if he's worthy of having a dream that is bigger than ours, then yes, help him with it. But don't forget your own dream as well. And men, support your women in your dreams. Trust me, if you do that, she will give you the world. Then there's going to be some harlots out there who are going to be like using you. But that's the gamble we take when it comes to love, right? Vulnerability is so hard because everybody is worried about not wanting to be the loser. And I get that completely. It sucks to be on the other end of the pink slip. There's a really big delusion that most of us are suffering from. When I listen to these red pill, pink pill, I don't look at it. I used to look at it very jaded, in the sense that, man, is this the way the world is right now? And I'm scared to go back into the dating realm because I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting out of this. But I'm also looking at it from a microcosmic level, in the sense that, okay, I understand the big picture and it's bleak, but looking at it as like a puzzle, right? You have the whole, but that whole is made up of little individual pieces, and everybody's putting in their pieces and they're creating this picture. So if we took a little bit more accountability for the way the world is right now, then I think it can change. I don't know what everybody wants. I don't even know what I want right now. And it wouldn't be fair to another person to sit there and, stagnated because I can't get my crap together. I take that. I'll take that L, okay? But when we really truly decide we want a relationship, we know what has to go into it. It takes commitment, it takes focus, it takes compromise, and it takes understanding. But when we start to put the blame on other people, when we've been heartbroken, or if we were the one that was broken up with, we like to paint this person as being so terrible, when in actuality, they were just making a decision. I would rather, even though it hurts and would be like such a strike to the ego, I would rather somebody tell me, hey, you know, I really appreciate you and our time that we spent together. After further evaluation, I just don't feel that this is going to go anywhere. Therefore, I feel it would be best just to cut our losses. I wish you well and we can move on. It will suck, but them saying that and having the maturity to say that would do wonders for people these days, rather than going out, you know, cheating and being passive aggressive and, you know, being a terrible person for the other person to break up with them so you don't have to take responsibility for your own life, because that's what happens, right? But just saying, you know what, you're right. I'm pretty sure when someone tells you that, it's not coming out of left field. Maybe sometimes if you weren't being aware, but most of the time we know. And we just draw things out because maybe it was something that we really wanted. Sorry about that, my light went out. I want to trail off with an exercise. I want you to sit down in a quiet place that is peaceful for you. I prefer, honestly, sitting outside in nature, like finding a really nice park when it's dead silent out there and all you can hear are the birds chirping and squirrels, children, and sitting down, letting the wind hit your face, letting the wind blow your hair and all you're feeling. I know I'm sounding super like zen, but it really helps to just sit in silence and let your thoughts flow through you. You easily assess them. I want you to ask yourself a question. Who are you? At the end of the day, not identified by the responsibilities that are tagged upon you, being a mother, being a wife, being an employee, being a citizen to our society. Who are you? Who are you to you if you defined yourself without those labels? I am a woman who wants peace, who wants happiness, who wants love, who wants to be hopeful in a world where we have become doubting and have perpetuated a system that is more destructive to us than empowering, even though we have deluded ourselves to think that it's empowering. What do you stand for? What will you tolerate? Those are questions that you need to ask yourself. And every day will change. It might be different 5 years from now. It could have been different 5 years ago. But in this present moment, if you could really be the mature adult that you wanted to be in making the tough decisions to rectify the qualms in your life, what would you have to do? What do you need to do? And make those decisions. Sometimes it's easier. I feel it's easier to rip off the band-aid now so that it can eventually and gradually heal, rather than keeping on that little band-aid and letting the wound underneath fester. Eventually it have to be exposed. When do you want that to happen? So I think I will end it here. I don't know if that helped anyone. I'm hopeful that it did, because getting hurt, losing someone, it's hard, because not only are you losing that person, you're losing that routine, you're losing that dream, that hope. Know your real purpose and know that you can be okay by yourself. You don't need to, I don't like to use the word settle, but you don't need to be a martyr for another person's cause. Sometimes you have to have a bigger dream than somebody else, because then we will all lie in complacency and in mediocre lives. And I think that we need to push ourselves as human beings to do better than what was taught to us before. That's the whole point of evolution, is it not? But that was my soapbox for the evening. I hope that you take that with love in your heart and that you assess it, and hopefully bring that energy into a new relationship that you're forming, or maybe even apologize to the past relationships that you've had as closure, to let them know that it wasn't their fault. I take blame too, and therein I feel is going to help alleviate a lot of this pain that I see on these channels in the world, because we're not owning up to our responsibility in the giant scheme of things. This has been Celestial Evolution. I hope and bid you a beautiful evening, and I hope that this video affords you some food for thought, and if you liked it, share it. I love to be shared. I like to know that I'm saying some good stuff, you know? But if not, at least like, subscribe, because I'll be putting out a lot more videos just like this, and we'll get to know each other more often in the future. Like I said, I want to focus on physicality, so I'm going to do fitness videos, I'm going to talk about books that I'm reading, and just so much more. Until next time, I will see you guys. Bye bye bye. Bye bye. Au revoir. Goodbye.